Things happen in the world over which we don't have immediate control. Meaning, she asked about a leader who was just elected into her country, who she knows through policy, through decisions, is one who is harmful for the people, harmful for the natives, harmful for the environment. And what do we do about that? So there are situations where we don't have immediate control, meaning we had a vote, we used our vote, the election didn't go the way we wanted it to. But that's just one example. There's a lot of other examples in our world over things over which we don't have immediate control in that minute. What do we do about it? Well, it's an important question because we're seeing a lot of that in the world. And I'm deeply committed to the fact that the highest answer to this is not how can I find peace in the midst of leaders who are making decisions to ruin our environment. Leaders who are making decisions that are perhaps in favor of a tiny, tiny, very well-to-do minority, not in favor of a much larger, less well-to-do majority. I do not believe that the answer is just, how can I sit in enough peace to wait this one out? We are being truly called upon to act in the world. And every spiritual teaching that I know is in line with that, is in line with standing up, right? The Bhagavad Gita is told in a battlefield. It's a battlefield of Arjuna and his brothers, the Pandavas, who are going to war. Well, they're good guys. They're not after somebody else's money. They're not after somebody else's land. They're not stealing. They're going to war in order to restore Dharma, in order to restore righteousness, in order to bring back light. And this is what Lord Krishna, the divine on earth, tells them they have to do. And I think there's a reason that our scriptures are given to us in these situations, right? So we have the Gita given to us in the midst of the battlefield. We have the Ramayana given to us with its own war. We have so many teachings that come from these contexts, absolutely to remind us the spiritual life, living a dharmic life, is not about running away. Arjuna wanted to. He finally says to Krishna, okay, forget it. Let them do whatever they want. I know they're wrong. I know they're stealing. I know they're harming, but forget it. It's not worth it. I don't want to go to war. And Lord Krishna says to him, basically, not so fast. You don't get to make that decision. Because you are fighting this war not just for yourself. It's not about your land or your kingdom. You're fighting this war on behalf of Dharma. And it is your Dharma to do so. I deeply believe that the wars that we are being called upon to fight today are not those types of wars. We're not fighting at this moment over kingdoms and where we're drawing boundary lines. But there are wars to be fought. There are wars to be fought of Dharma, of righteousness, which includes within, absolutely, and also without. Righteousness includes compassion. It includes nonviolence. But nonviolence, if I'm walking down the street and someone is beating a child, an old lady, a helpless person to death, for me to walk by and not stop it is violent. If I'm walking down the street and someone is beating someone, a lady, a man, anyone who cannot protect themselves, who needs my help, and I don't help them, that's violent. To have the capacity to fix, to restore a situation and not use it is violence. If somebody in front of me is having a heart attack and I don't help them, that's violence. And today, there is so much going on in the world. Today, more people are suffering and dying due to lack of clean water than actually due to any other form of violence combined. So we talk about wars and we talk about terrorism and we talk about domestic violence or communal violence or gender-based violence or whatever it may be. But actually more people are dying due to lack of clean water. Today, to pollute our water bodies is violence. To make decisions about what we eat, what we wear, how we live, that pollutes our air, our soil, our water, such that other people are suffering and dying, is violence. And so the question, circling back to your question of what do we do, is we stand up. But this is where we have to fight the inner war first. And the inner war is one in which we fight against our own egos. Because the dilemma becomes, if I'm not grounded, if I'm not anchored, then I'm not actually going to be an effective warrior. If I'm fighting it from a place of anger, if I'm fighting it from a place of fury, if I'm fighting it from a place of lack of peace, I'm not going to be efficient or effective. What the world needs today is not more people with picket signs. What the world needs today is actually people who are effective and efficient and clear and grounded and not just screaming and yelling, but actually able to make a difference. And that is what we need to do. And so our first step is we must find the peace. Not the peace in what that person is doing, not the peace that says this is right, but a peace that enables me to be able to move forward. Otherwise, I literally run around like the chicken with its head cut off. Otherwise, it becomes about me and my anger. Otherwise, I scream and shout, and at the end of the day, I may feel righteously exhausted. But I haven't actually made a difference. I remember when I first came to India, Puja Swamiji took me to see a group of 10 or 11 schools in a slum area that the head of a trust that was running these schools had come to him and asked him to adopt these schools because the trust no longer had money to run them. But children were coming every day, teachers were coming. And so we went and we spent the day in slums, in horrendous situations, with children who were so beautiful. And I won't go into the details of that story. It's a beautiful story, but a different story. But at the end of the day, I came back. We get back to the ashram in Delhi, and I'm sobbing. I mean, just sobbing. I cannot catch my breath because all I can think about is those children. And it's time for dinner, and I say, I can't eat any dinner. Oh my God, I can't eat any dinner. How can I eat any dinner? These kids don't have any dinner, and oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And Puja Swamiji looks at me and he says, are your tears helping them? And I said, no, but oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And he says, are your tears giving them dinner? Are your tears putting a roof over their heads? Are your tears doing anything for them? And I said, no. And he said, the only thing your tears are helping is your own ego. Through your tears, you feel like this incredibly compassionate being who cannot eat dinner because she's so upset that these poor children don't have dinner, and aren't you a wonderful, compassionate person who is so upset about those poor kids? I said, but that doesn't help them. He said, if you really want to help them, if you really have such compassion for them, eat your dinner, go to sleep early, and get up at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning and start figuring out how you're going to raise enough money to sponsor all of these schools. That is going to help them. And so that is this teaching. When we are so overpowered by our own emotional reaction to what's happening, we may feel like very good people because, oh my God, I'm so upset. How can this person be running that country? How can that person be committing such heinous acts? And we should be outraged. We absolutely should be outraged. We're not outraged enough, in my opinion. But we have to find a stability within the outrage that enables me to actually serve as a channel for the divine will, so that I know how to serve, how to act. It's not, contrary to popular belief, just about posting things on Facebook. It's not just about signing petitions online. Those are good. I'm not saying don't do it. Raising awareness is very important as well. But that's not going to give people water to drink. It's not going to get leaders like that out of office. Even more importantly, it's not going to change the hearts and the minds of the people who elected him into office. You do not live in a military state. You do not live in a dictatorship. Well, now, but you have elected him in. And the situation becomes, and it's an incredible realization for all of us in the world, is how can we spread love and peace? When this happened in America, I had a very similar reaction. And I then realized, okay, wait. What is it about the anger and the fear of the people of the nation that is leading them to make these choices? And how can we work with that? Help people make choices that are in line, not just with their pocketbooks, but actually in line with that which protects the environment, in line with education for poor people, in line with health care for poor people, in line with opportunities for the underserved majority. But that requires us to come out of our fear. It requires us to come out of our bubble of scarcity, our bubble of, I have to protect me. Because if I'm living in survival instinct, I'm going to do whatever I need to survive. And that's the way that a lot of people in a lot of the world are living today. Mentally, we've been so indoctrinated into this mentality of scarcity And then leaders tap into that. And so what we need to do is whatever we can to help ourselves and then those around us break free from that model of scarcity. There is enough. There is enough for all. If we make more than enough, absolutely. If we make the choices that are right, not just for ourselves, but actually for our greater self. But that's something that we only experience when we actually have a strong spiritual practice. Because until and unless I have that, this is only me. This is me. The people I'm connected to by blood or marriage, those are my family. But a spiritual practice enables me to realize, no, the world is my family. This is not just me. This is also me. And so, your water, your food, your health care, your education, your opportunities, that's also me. That's also self. So this is where we do the inner work, such that we then can do the outer work. So both are required.